Thanks, Liz, and welcome everybody. Great to have you here at AxeCon. I've heard that there's as many as 30,000 of you attending today. So let's look at some other numbers. AxeCore's year-end numbers. As Preeti pointed out in today's keynote, we crossed the 1 billion downloads just on npm.js. That doesn't count downloads from other locations. So that was quite a milestone for us in this last year. Also, we're as high as 16 million downloads a week on npm.js. So the usage continues to climb on a weekly basis. Very surprisingly, I found that AxeCore is used by 8.7 million projects on GitHub. We went over the 200 contributors mark this year. We're at 209 contributors. Thank you very much to all those contributors. Please, anyone who's interested in helping AxeCore get better, please go to GitHub and see how you can contribute. It might be as simple as helping with the translation or helping with the documentation or something like that. But please continue to find ways to help us make it better. We've had 89 releases of AxeCore since 2015, with 8 releases in the last 12 months. So we continue to improve it. We continue to make it better and add features and functionality. And thank you, everyone, for helping us do that. This last year was, I think, important for accessibility overall. We're really starting to grow up as an industry. And Forrester put out what they call a wave. And in the first wave, the accessibility platform wave, the Axe platform, really represented by Deque systems in their wave graphic, was recognized by Forrester. And to quote from the report, Deque is the best fit for organizations committed to embedding accessibility and wanting a vendor with strong services and great tools to enable its designers, developers, and testers. And that's really, at the end of the day, it was a validation of what we've really tried to do with Axe all along. And that is make Axe and tools around Axe be the best tools for people to use who are in the business of creating digital experiences. So this is a great validation of the overall approach and the platform from one of the best industry analysts out there. So let's talk about some of the things that have happened over the last year and some announcements. We do have quite a few new announcements that we're making public for the first time today. The first one that I want to bring to your attention is in Axe for Designers, which is a Figma plugin, which really is aimed at allowing you to embed accessibility into your design process and then make sure that, hey, those designs are accessible as they can be, from a color contrast perspective and all the other sorts of concerns that you have as a designer. But secondly, and almost as importantly, some would say more importantly, to make sure that the design intent is communicated to the rest of your development team. That includes developers and testers, so that they can actually make sure that that is implemented and they can test to make sure that it's implemented. And we are announcing we've released a new version of that today, hot off the press, with an improved user interface. And in this version, we've removed the need to register to get access to the vast majority of the features. So it's a lower barrier to entry. You can try it. You don't need to register for an account in order to use a lot of the functionality. Over the last year, though, we added some very powerful features. I'm not going to mention everything that we added, but 2 things I do want to point out particularly. The first one was automatic form field annotations. So you can add annotations for any UI component, and annotations are useful for conveying the semantic intent or for conveying things like alt text and stuff like that to the developer. But with the automatic annotations, we're using our AI capability to really look at the screen and then apply automated stuff. And once again, in our human-centric approach here, the designer can then either accept those annotations or reject them. The other thing we've done is using the same technology. Once again, we've put in a feature to automate the focus order annotation, so you can see those For those of you who can see the screenshot on the right, those little purple annotations with the numbers in them are the focus order annotations, and being able to automate the creation of those is a real time saving a thing for designers. Moving on to Axe Auditor, which is our tool for comprehensive auditing, where you can audit all different types of digital experiences, from Windows native apps to mobile native apps to web documents, etc. Over the last year, we've added support for WCAG 2.2. You'll see a theme here as I go through all of our products in terms of support, wider support for standards. We've added support for the European standard EN 301549. There's a lot of accessibility activity going on in Europe right now, and so this is an important thing for us to be able to support. And in fact, we added support for this into Axe Core itself as well. And the same thing with Trusted Tester version 5. We added support to both Axe Core, and then most of our products already have support for being able to select that standard for your testing purposes. We added a feature to allow better report sharing. We added features to our issues to allow those of you who want to use Axe Auditor as the sort of truth for the status of your accessibility issues, that you can do that better with issue status tracking. And then in order to make it easier to use multiple products together, if you want to be able to do the testing, a lot of the testing in Axe DevTools Pro using its intelligent guided testing features and the AI that are AI enabled, we've added the ability to import those results from Axe DevTools Pro into Axe Auditor, and then either continue the testing yourself, or if you're doing work on behalf of dev teams, the dev teams can do the testing inside Axe DevTools Pro and have the testing or the subject matter experts continue that work for them within Axe Auditor. Moving on to Axe Monitor, which is our tool for doing comprehensive ongoing monitoring and reporting. We added support for WCAG 2, the EN 301549, and Trusted Tester v5. But we also added support for more ways of allowing authentication to be done before or during a comprehensive scan. So those of you who use Axe Monitor will be familiar with our scripting capabilities. We've had NTLM support for some period of time, but now we've added NTLM version 2, and we've added Kerberos support for authentication to all the other sorts of authentication we already support. What I'd like to announce today for Axe Monitor is the availability, restricted availability for our new UI in V8. I'm very excited about this new UI. First of all, it allows the ability, once again, to import issues from Axe DevTools Pro, including IGT-related issues, so that those can be included in your comprehensive reporting. And then second of all, the UI not only is completely revamped and looks a lot more like the rest of the Axe platform UI, and it's much easier to use, it also has support for scan history. So here you can see a screenshot where we have a scan that's been done. We did two different scan runs, one in the beginning, early in the day on May 8th, and the other one later in the day on May 8th. And now you can switch between the two and see the differences between scans on different dates and times. So this is a very powerful feature that we're looking forward to rolling out to our users over the coming months. Let's talk about the Axe community, because that's you. And we've had a strong Axe community around Axe Core, and we've had an Axe community Slack for some time. But we really felt it was time to really bring together a more diverse group of people involved in accessibility. And so we're doing an Axe community boost up, and we took AxeCon as the opportunity for us to do this. So we're announcing, and we're already using, a lot of you are on Discord. I've got it sitting over here in my other monitor, and I can see the activity going on. We've got a new Axe Discord server, and this is intended to be a year-round space supporting collaboration and communication for both the AxeCon community, or all of the AxeCon community, the already quite vibrant Axe Core community, contributors and users alike, and the wider Axe Tools community. So for those of you who haven't already signed up, I really would like to ask you to do that, help to make the community richer through by sharing your experience or coming and asking your questions and having conversations about important topics. The URL is deque.com/community. So please sign up for that. Let's move on to mobile because mobile is on the move. Axe DevTools Mobile is already the leading solution for mobile accessibility. But over the last year, we've added some really exciting features. The first thing is we've enhanced our industry-first AI computer vision and testing to do more testing. And our approach here, once again, is the same approach that we're taking with all of our AI implementations, really human-centric approach to AI and computer vision testing. And you'll see us expand that over the coming year. We added the mobile analyzer, and this is an exciting new feature that allows you to do codeless testing of mobile applications. Our prior generation of testing required you to build something into your application in order to do the testing, and we found that that was a barrier for testing teams or for subject matter experts who didn't have access to the code. So now you can just install the mobile analyzer on your device, and you can test any mobile app, whether it's from your organization or from some other organization. You don't need access to the code anymore. And what does that look like? Here I have a screenshot showing a mobile app from that's a fashion-related app that was not developed by us. And when you have the mobile analyzer installed and running, there's what we like to call the purple floating purple button that you can press. And anytime you press it, it's going to analyze that and send those results off to the server where you can then aggregate the results together and look at them and share them with your colleagues. So really exciting capability. Along with this new technology that we released in the last year, we added the ability to do this sort of testing with cross-platform apps. So with Flutter and with React Native as well. And some of the other things we've done over the course of this year is we added the ability for our VS Code linting plugin to lint React Native code within VS Code itself. But that same capability is also available on the server to be embedded into CI/CD platforms, like Jenkins or like GitHub Actions, etc. We've very recently released the industry's first Appium plugin. And this is really groundbreaking because it allows you to test any native cross-platform app. And there's no necessity, even if you're doing automated testing inside your test framework, to embed any code in your application at all. And you could use any Appium client with this. You could use Java, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, etc. So it's really a powerful new capability that we've released. And you can sign up for a free trial for this at www.deque.com/axe/devtools/mobile-accessibility if you want to try it out yourself. Moving over to the Axe DevTools extension and the DevTools Pro functionality. We promised you this last year, and Harris does not have to shave his head because he delivered on this. You can now do 100% of your WCAG testing in the extension. In addition to extending the capabilities of our IGTs to do more testing, and we continue to do that. We added the ability, along with the already existing manual testing instructions that exist inside the application, we added the ability to capture manual issues. And this manual issue capture is really powerful. So when you have this enabled, you have a new button inside your test record labeled Add Manual Issue. When you press that button, it allows you to then, using our accessible element selector functionality, using either the keyboard or the mouse, to select the element that has the accessibility issue, to select from our library of issue descriptions. So you don't have to make things up. You can just search for the WCAG success criteria, and we give you a list of all the available issues that you could possibly find in accessibility. You just have to choose from one of those existing issue descriptions. And then if there are any related elements, so for example, if you're doing color contrast testing, you have the foreground element and the background element. If there are any related elements, you can also select those and add those to the record. And the extension will take screenshots for you store everything in your test record, and all the functionality that you have inside DevTools Pro of sharing with your team members, etc., exporting is all available for these issues as well. So very exciting functionality. And once again, that is available for anyone who's using Axe DevTools Pro or for anybody who signs up for a trial of that. We continue to focus on making sure that as security becomes an increasingly important part of concern for organizations who are also concerned with accessibility, that we enhance the capabilities of our platform to do this. So one of the features we added over the course of the last year is what we call secure offline mode. So for somebody who wants, an organization that wants to use Axe DevTools Pro extension, for example, with all of its testing capabilities, but they don't want to talk to a server, or they don't want to talk to any AI, and they don't want any analytics data being captured at all, they can generate keys that they distribute to their users, and those users can turn on the secure offline mode where they can get access to most of this functionality without ever having anything talk to a server at all. So really seeing great adoption of this within banking and financial services and the government agencies where security is a big concern. The second thing, we've had organization settings for a long time now. But what we added over this last year was the ability to go into the Axe account and change those settings from within the Axe account and have those then propagated out to the extension and enforced. So we have the ability to enforce those settings by going into as an administrator, by going into the Axe account and setting those. And so here you can see in this screenshot the view of somebody whose settings are being controlled by their admin, where you can see that the accessibility standard has been set for them. The admin has set it up so that they can change that. There's different ways you can set that up. You can either set a floor where you can say this is the minimum version, but the user is allowed to choose from more comprehensive standards that go above and beyond what this minimum version is, or you can lock it down to a very specific version altogether. So there's a lot of flexibility in these capabilities that allow you to ensure that there's consistency across your organization and at least the minimum levels of testing that are being done. We've also enhanced the use of computer vision and AI inside the IGTs. I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but some of the things that we did is we now use the object detection to find UI controls that cannot be used with the keyboard and suggest those to the user as potential things that need to be tested from a keyboard perspective. We also added testing for color contrast checks in both focused and unfocused states, so that that really improves the amount of time that it takes to test do all of your color contrast testing on dynamic websites. And we've added dozens of other quality of life improvements that if you go into the Discord and just chat with Harris, the product manager, myself, we can give you some details on a lot of the other things that we've added to the product over the last year. And what I'd really like to announce now is a new capability that's going to be coming to the Axe DevTools extension, which we're calling user flow analysis. So for those of you who are familiar with the FireEyes plugin, which predates Axe DevTools, we used to have a feature in there that would observe the user interface, and anytime anything inside of it changed, we would analyze that. And people have asked us to bring that feature back. And so we've been working on it. We wanted to make sure that we could get the user experience right. And so we put a lot of work first into figuring out how to make the user experience what it needs to be. And so I'm excited to announce that this is something that is coming soon. And let me show you a little video of that. Here you can see on our recipe site, as we're interacting with that and as the dialogue is popping up and being dismissed, that the analysis is being done. And for those of you who were quick enough and could have seen the results there, you'll notice that it did multiple analyses. On the first one, it found 19 issues, and in the next two, it found some additional issues, and the third one, it found 19 issues again. And in the reports itself, it's deduplicating those. So a lot of those issues are the same issue because we're seeing the same screen over and over in different, slightly different states. But the system takes advantage of the capability that we have in the Axe Developer Hub for deduplication. And so it's very easy for the person doing the testing to then or sharing the results with somebody, for somebody to see exactly where those results were and see only the unique issues for each of those page states in the result that they get. So anybody who signs up for a free trial at deque.com/axe/devtools will get access to this capability when it is released. What we're also going to do as a part of this release is for those of you who've already exhausted your one free trial, we will give you a new free trial to allow you to be able to not only try out this new functionality, but also try out some of the new features that we've added to Axe DevTools over the last year, and see whether that's something that you think you'd like to use on an ongoing basis. So please take advantage of that. Moving on to Axe DevTools HTML, which encompasses all of our APIs, the CLI, the linter, etc. We've done some exciting things over the last year. So once again, this product also has support for WCAG 2.2, Trusted Tester v5, and EN 301549. What we did over the last year is we added some great features to the linter. So the linter has always had support for a lot of different frameworks, such as React, Vue, etc. But what we've done this year is add support for custom components, so that if you are using React to write your own components, and then those components are being used by your developers, you can make sure that those components are used in such a way that they remain accessible. So that capability is really exciting because it allows organizations that have invested in design systems or custom components to ensure that those get used in an accessible way. And to help with that, we've added built-in support for material UI components, MUI components, so that just by including a reference to that built-in library, you can get a lot of support for MUI components out of the box. Below that, you can see a screenshot of a YAML configuration where we've added the mapping for a custom button. We've indicated that this custom dash button element maps to the native button element, HTML button element, and we've told the linter also how to map attributes to the accessible name. So the message attribute is going to apply the accessible name to this button. And we've also told it that all of the ARIA attributes should be passed through because they will be respected by this implementation of this button. So a lot of very feature-rich way to communicate to the linter how your different custom components have been implemented. I'd also like to announce that we've added support for IntelliJ linter plugin. So those of you who are familiar with the VS Code linter plugin, we now have the exact same capability available for IntelliJ. So please contact us. This is not something that you can try for free online. This will require you to get involved with our sales force. But if your organization is interested in IntelliJ linting, please get in contact with us, and we can help you get a trial of this technology. What I'd also like to announce that, from an Axe DevTools HTML perspective, is that we are the product that was we announced as a beta last year during AxeCon, the Axe Developer Hub. We are now putting that into production. It's no longer beta, and we are making available a free plan so that everybody can get some ability to use this exciting new product for free. The free tier of usage for the Axe Developer Hub will include a single API key for individual users, and for organizations, it'll include 5 users, each of whom can have a single API key for use within their enterprises. And this will allow them to use Axe Core Watcher And both of these capabilities, both the Axe Core Watcher and the Developer Hub, will also become available for free to existing Axe DevTools HTML users. So users who have subscriptions or licenses to that will be able to get access for free to this capability. For those of you who weren't here last year, let me just recap the major value propositions of this. The first thing is what I call set and forget accessibility testing. So simply by configuring the Axe Watcher into your testing platform, I've got an example here showing the configuration with Cypress, where we're pulling in the Axe Core Watcher plugin, giving it our API key. And what this does is then ensures that in every Cypress test that is run after this, accessibility testing will just happen. You don't have to do any additional coding to make that the case. And this sort of set and forget capability is something that is available in the Axe linter, and now it's also available for the Axe DevTools APIs as part of Axe Core Watcher. And this is supported for Cypress, for Playwright, for Puppeteer, and for WebDriver IO. So for those of you who are on any one of those platforms, this is an exciting capability. What Axe Developer Hub then adds on top of that is the ability to do reporting in a way that's really relevant to developers. So it is aware of the Git structure of your application, and it pulls that data into the server, into the reporting whenever data gets sent to the back end. And what it's then able to do is to then make meaningful comparisons between that particular data and other data. So for example, if you have a branch that is part of a pull request, it can compare that pull request to the default branch, and it can tell you what the difference is in accessibility issues between those two branches. And that's one of the most useful things about this is not only telling you here are all the issues and doing deduplication on those issues, it's also able to do meaningful comparisons between branches in such a way that the developers then have all the information that they need to be able to know whether they should approve that pull request or whether they need to go back and do some additional fixing before they do that. It also has a concept of what we call the accessibility threshold. So you can see that here in this screenshot. And as part of the settings on the Axe account, you can set up what that threshold is. You can say, for example, if you're a large organization with a lot of legacy accessibility issues, but you want to enable the development teams to start making progress, you can say, okay, I'm going to set a threshold where any new code that gets added to the system should introduce 0 accessibility issues. And then you can even go further and you can say, what impact do you want to include in that? Do you want to include critical, serious, and moderate only? Or do you want to include critical, serious, moderate, and minor issues in that accessibility threshold? So it gives you a lot of power in determining how you can get traction and roll accessibility testing out to your organization in a way that will allow them to adopt it and make progress appropriately. So for those of you who are interested in signing up for a free trial for this, deque.com/axe/developer-hub is where you can do that. So let's get on to Deque University. Deque University has had a lot of updates in the last year. I'm very excited about this. There's a new fast track to accessibility courses, which are short video-based role-specific courses for different roles like web developers, designers, document creators, and more. It's really the ideal starting point for learning accessibility, and it's a lot more digestible because it's in video format for people who who aren't necessarily readers and do have a more visual learning style. We've refreshed iOS and Android courses, so the content from these is more up to date. We've updated the web curriculum to support WCAG 2.2. In fact, Deque University itself was a reference WCAG 2.2 site, so our Deque University itself is fully compliant with WCAG 2.2 and was right from the beginning, from when WCAG 2.2 was released. We've added, once again, in our endeavor to better support large organizations trying to roll accessibility out, we've added and enhanced dashboard features. One of those is custom learning paths, where paths can be created for individuals or groups. So you can say, this is the learning path that I want for developers. Here's the learning path that I want for designers. There's group management capability. There's graded exams, where exams can be assigned and the scores can be reported, and those can be graded exams that are required to be passed, or ones that are optional in terms of passing. We've got enhanced course progress reports with filters for groups and for learning paths. So a lot of exciting features in terms of the admin dashboard. In terms of the graded exams, we've got accessibility exams for web development, design, PDF, Office, Google Workspace, and more. This enhances the accountability and the transparency in the learning outcomes. And the exams can be assigned with deadlines or without deadlines. So this gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of compliance with the learning within your organization. And finally, I'd really like to announce an exciting thing. So Deque University is the industry-leading source for accessibility, high quality accessibility knowledge. And we've decided that ACS needs to go to Deque University. And so we've been working on a functionality that we're calling the ACS Advisor. And this is an LLM-based functionality where you can go to Deque University and you can ask it any question. So here I'm asking it, so this may sound like a stupid question, but how can people who can't see use a mouse to get around? And the answer that it comes up with is not a stupid question. It's a fantastic inquiry into the world of web accessibility. And then it comes up with a bunch of really high quality data to help this person who's obviously a novice, new to accessibility, to understand the basics about that. And you can ask it any question for anything that's in Deque University at all. So I asked it, for example, recently, how can I make a song accessible? And it gave me links to a lot of Deque University course content. Not only did it give me the answer, but it gave me links to the Deque University course content to teach me how to make multimedia accessible, to teach me about deafness as a disability and the sorts of accommodations that you need to be taken into account. And so it's really an example of how we can take high quality niche data for accessibility, combine it with the power of LLMs, and come up with something where the AI is really able to help you get better at accessibility. So I don't know how many of you know Dr. Paul Bowman, but he really deserves a shout out for many reasons. He's been in accessibility probably as long as Deque's been around, 25 years. He was the co-founder of WebAIM. So for those of you who are familiar with Wave and WebAIM, he co-founded that. He was the original chair of the IAAP certification committee. He's a university instructor. He's instructor Deque, and the creator of Deque University. And he's been the author of a large portion of the Deque University content. And when we were working on this feature with him, in the beginning, he was a little bit skeptical, but he worked with our AI engineers on this, with Dylan Schaefer and Noe Barrel. And at the end of this last week, he said, it's almost like having a mini me in there. And he could recognize himself in the content that was coming back whenever he was interacting with the chatbot. So this is not available. This is available at the moment only internally to Deque employees. We will be making it available to the wider world soon. So for those of you who'd like to sign up for this, please go to accessibility.deque.com/ax-advisor-preview-access. And these links, all the links that I've mentioned today, will be shared by Liz in the chat transcript. And with that, I would like to hand over to Liz to ask questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dylan.
Attendees. Time, Liz.
Can you hear me all right?
I can, but how do I do on time?
You did great on time. We have about 10, 15 minutes for questions.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Attendees are super excited about all of these Axe tools updates coming soon. Let me get right into the first question. Okay, are there any future plans for Axe DevTools to support testing the quality of alt text, like flagging non-decorative images with empty alt attributes or insufficient descriptions?
Well, yes, we're definitely looking into that. This is one of the areas that we're looking at applying the various different AI technologies, and so it is an area of research for us that once we feel like the technology is a good enough quality and advanced long enough, we are considering adding that sort of feature to the Axe platform in general.
Awesome. Thank you, Dylan. Okay, next question. This one's on Axe for Designers. Is there any plan to create an Axe for Designers plugin for other design tools, such as Adobe XD?
So at the moment, no plans. We're really trying to focus on creating a great experience for Figma first and foremost. But it's not something that's out of the question. It's something we do talk about, but we don't have a plan for that at the moment.
Okay, next question. Does Axe DevTools work well with web components that are in shadow?
So does Axe DevTools work well with Axe components that are in shadow? Yes, the Axe core has been designed from the ground up to support iframes and Shadow DOM inside iframes and iframes inside Shadow DOM. So Axe core supports that. And Axe DevTools Pro also supports it. That doesn't mean we don't have the odd bug or two here or there, but we've put a lot of effort over the last year in fixing some of the issues that we did have, because what we've noticed over the last year or so is that Shadow DOM, as web components have started to become more popular, we've seen bigger and more comprehensive adoption of Shadow DOM as well. So that was a long way of saying yes, we do support Shadow DOM.
Awesome. Thanks.
Oh,
Dylan.
one just thing to mention about that. As long as it's open Shadow DOM, closed Shadow DOM is not possible. It's not possible to look inside at all. So if you're using Shadow DOM, then I implore you to just never use the closed Shadow DOM feature. I tried to argue against the implementation of that, when the standard was being created, but they wouldn't do it. And it causes all sorts of trouble for testing, not just for accessibility, because no tool, including the testing tools, can look inside the closed Shadow DOM at all. So in my opinion, that's a feature that you should stay away from.
Got it. Okay, next question. I believe this one came in when you were speaking about Developer Hub. Are there any limitations to these capabilities if we wanted to leverage them using a framework that we'd have to build integration into ourselves? So custom, not Cypress, etc.
So the Axe Watcher component and the Axe Developer Hub component are two separate things that work together well. So if you don't have access to Axe Watcher because it doesn't support your framework, you can still either use one of our existing APIs, and those APIs, the data that they generate can be sent to the Developer Hub for reporting purposes, independently of the Axe Watcher. And second of all, if we don't have an API at all to support your framework, and please go to docs.deque.com and go into the Axe DevTools HTML documentation, and you'll see a link quite near the top, which is a list of it's an example repo that'll give you access to the full richness of all the APIs that we do support. We support a lot, but if we don't have one that is supported at all, and you have to resort essentially to embedding Axe core into that, then simply by utilizing the wire protocol for Axe Developer Hub, or by supporting the JSON output format of the APIs, you can get your data into the Developer Hub for reporting purposes. So it's a little bit, that's an advanced question. If you'd like to communicate with us, that's a great question to come to the Axe community and have a conversation with us about.
Awesome. Thanks, Dylan. I'm going to grab some more Developer Hub questions. Someone asked, do I understand correctly that Axe Developer Hub will be included with the license for Axe HTML, Axe DevTools HTML?
That is correct, yes. Over the next couple of months, we're working on the release communications for that. So if you're an existing customer, please look out for communications from various different Deque channels and people, because we will be, Ben Allen, who I'm very excited to have join us from, he used to work at GitHub and is now working for us, is the product manager, and he's actively working on all the communication that and documentation that needs to happen in order for that to get out to everyone that needs it.
Great, thanks, Dylan. Okay, this one is about Axe Expert Extension, which is not supported anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were wondering if a new extension will be offered that's part of Axe Monitor, or would you have to purchase a separate license of Axe DevTools? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so if you recall back to when I was talking about Axe DevTools extension and Pro, I talked about the offline mode. So for those people, those of you who were using the Axe Expert extension because of the lack of it having to talk to a server, we have that offline mode for you. For other people who were using it in combination with, say, Axe Monitor to upload data, the Axe Monitor V8 version will support upload from Axe DevTools Pro instead. And so a lot of the functionality that was in Axe Expert has now been superseded by functionality that's part of Axe DevTools Pro. And so the best thing I can say is to really talk to support or your account executive or customer support, customer success person. Talk to them about your specific use case, or come to the Axe community and talk to us about that. But we have a solution for you of what you can use instead of the Axe Expert extension.
Great. Okay, next question is about linter. Could you please let me know how to use Axe DevTools linter if developers do not use VS Code?
Okay, great. There's at least two things. If they're using IntelliJ, I just announced that has been released, so that's one option for you. And the second option is that you can use what we call the connector. So one thing that a quote that from one of our customers that I really like is that they see the IDE plugin as a quality of life, for the developers feature. But what they considered to be essential was embedding that into the CI/CD system. So regardless of the editor that you're using and whether you're using that plugin, you should always consider having it integrated into your CI/CD system, because that way the linting will catch issues regardless of whether the developer A has the plugin installed, B pays attention to the plugin, and C actually fixes the issues, right? So it's always good for you to think about the editor plugin as a companion to the backend CI/CD system. And having said that, so the backend system is always an option for you to use. And the good thing about that is it's set and forget. Once you've got it installed and connected to a particular repository, the developers don't have to do anything. It'll test every single change to that repository automatically.
Awesome.
And then there is that same capability can be used as a Git pre-commit hook. So we have examples of documentation on our documentation side where you can use it as a pre-commit hook, and that's usable by anybody who's using any editor. As long as they're using the Git source code control system, they'll be able to get that feedback instantaneously on their own desktop as well.
Great. I think we have time for a couple of more questions. Here's a really easy one, and I think you got this in your last talk. Can you hold your shirt up a little higher to show everybody the full, what it says? Friends don't let friends ship inaccessible code.
And you know how they do that? They use DevTools.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, let's grab another question here. Are there any tools in the plan to support XR headset browsers? A lot of PWAs can provide an immersive experience to their users. How can we support visually impaired users?
So, so first of all, this is an area of research, obviously, but I will say this, that the principles of those browsers from an accessibility perspective, they are all going to have to adhere to the same standards that regular browsers adhere to. So the first thing you should do is for any content embedded that is displayed or interacted with through those browsers, that content needs to be accessible, and all of our tools can be used for that. In terms of testing the accessibility of the browser itself, that is just VR in general. We're really much at the moment pretty much in the research stage as to what we can do and what we can't do.
Got it. Thank you, Dylan. Let's see if we got one more question here. Okay. Is it financially feasible to have Axe DevTools Pro access for 40 plus developers within a single organization?
That's a question that we can help you answer. And the best way to do that is to get in touch with us, either via the Axe community or through our forms on Deque.com, where you can contact us and we'll put you in touch with a salesperson. I think the answer is always yes, because when you look at the ROI of the tools and how much time they save in terms of issues being caught much earlier in the development process, and how much time they save in terms of the amount of testing that it takes that you would otherwise have to do manually, and the amount of time that it saves in terms of the amount of training you would have to do to become an expert to do that testing in the first place. I think the answer for most organizations is a resounding the ROI is fantastic, and so therefore the cost should be affordable for most organizations. But if you're having trouble making that case within your organization, we can help you with that.
Awesome. I think we have time to squeeze in one more question. Are there plans to add contrast checks, inclusive of 1.4.11 non-text contrast for buttons in the default hovered and focus states, like the button contrast checker provides?
Yeah, we are always looking at ways we can expand our coverage, and that is one of the things that's a potential candidate for that. If you have rules that you could add to Axe Core for that, we would welcome a community contribution of that. So please help us.
Thank you, Dylan. Awesome. And with that, I think we are at time.